Okay, so we are about to go on the Myra Valley Canyon. There's an old railway line. There's mile marker 0. It's a 12-kilometer route on an old disused railway line that they've converted. It has a total of, I have to check the signs again, but something like 15 or 16, I think, trestle bridges and 2 tunnels. So we'll see how this goes. Here we've got the view down into Kelowna, British Columbia, and then over there, you zoom in, you can see one of the trestle bridges that we'll be running over eventually. We've got a little ways to go before we get to that. We're walking through what is known as the Rock Cut. Andrew McCulloch originally planned a tunnel at this site. When excavation began, however, the contractor found the rock to be highly fractured and unstable, so this full cut was made instead. So behind me, we're about to cross the first trestle bridge. Quite excited, I have to say. Let's take a look. So here we have our first kilometer reached. And here's the trestle. It says the numbers on trestles are miles from Midway, British Columbia. Now we have an 18, so I'm going to guess that's what they're saying. 18 kilometers from Midway. And here is our view down the valley. And just down there is Kelowna. It's very dramatic skies today. We might get wet, but that's okay. Absolutely gorgeous. This was a favourite place for Beverly Flores, a First Nations lady who lived in Kelowna and later in Campbell River. She died in 1999 and her family scattered her ashes here according to her wish. Her nephews crafted this beautiful wooden cross in her memory. The cross was subsequently ruined in the fires of 2003. So those peaks off in the distance, one of them is Little White Mountain. The elevation of that is just under 2,200 meters or 7,122 feet. It's the highest point in the Myra Bellevue Park. And here's bridge number 2, just a little one, a wee baby bridge. And right behind it, number 3.
got a few bridges in quick successions. We had 2 there, this is 3. Looks like maybe 4, 5, and 6. Quick succession.
The construction of the Kettle Valley Railway line through the spectacular Myra Canyon was an outstanding Canadian engineering achievement. Between 1912 and 1914, an impressive number and variety of engineering works of enormous scale were built high up on these steep walls. Engineers used conventional technologies in ingenious ways to construct the railway through the rugged, mountainous terrain, where workers faced the dangers posed by blasting and rock slides. The completion of this section of the railway helped provide a vital all-Canadian link between the west coast and the southern interior of British Columbia.
It's hard to picture it on the camera, but I'm going to guess that's 30, 40 feet high. It's the literal light at the end of the tunnel.
This tunnel had wooden cribbing to support the west portal, which has a large fault in the overhead rock. The cribbing was destroyed after the railway was abandoned. The reconstruction was a key project for the Myra Canyon Trestle Restoration Society in 1998, and the design was based on the standard CPR portal design and replicates the original. So this is the top of the railway. It's the highest point on the entire Kettle Valley Railway at about 4,200 feet above sea level and 3,000 feet above Okanagan Lake.
So I've since realised, after that first bridge, the number on the bridge I was looking at was the number of the trestles, assuming you're coming from the other direction. This is the number, you can see it there, that determines how far from whatever that town was in BC, so about 86k. It's easy to forget how high up in the mountains we really are, even though you read those signs. So for instance, in my bag I've got pretty good raincoats, emergency blankets, first aid stuff, bandages and the like, because you just never know how quick the weather can change. So here they also have a storm shelter, although it's quite the ways to the toilet if you need it, hey? 3 kilometers that way or 1 that way. But at least gives you a bit of shelter from hail and the like if you ever needed it. Okay, we're just passing the 3 kilometer mark, and here is our second bridge. That little number up there says 1941. As you can see from the cyclists going by, also a cycle route, in fact very popular at the start of the trail. I can imagine at the other end too. There were just rows and rows of rental bikes. I read they get around 75,000 annual visitors here, which is not too bad really. Every time I cross one of these bridges, I get this distinctive smell of old kind of varnish almost. It's been soaked into these beams for a very long time, I suspect. Here's another viewing point.
The original wooden trestle was replaced by this steel structure between 1930 and 31. The steel bridge was built around the wooden one so that traffic would not be interrupted during construction. It spans KLO Creek, which in the railway days was called East Fork Canyon Creek. It originates on Little White Mountain and joins Mission Creek at Gallagher's Canyon.
So we're coming up to the 5K point. But let's just step back a bit and show you the view to the right. You think you'd get bored of seeing bridges. Maybe you are, but I can tell you I'm not. Look at that beauty. And then just to the right. Look at that. And I get to run over that in a bit. That's pretty exciting. The S-shaped trestle. This trestle was a special engineering challenge as the curves were necessary to align the track at both ends. And here, kind of what that looks like. See the curve?
At the head of the valley, trestle number 6 spans Pooley Creek, built during 1931 and 32 to replace the original wooden structure built in 1914. This steel trestle is the longest at 220 meters or 720 feet and tallest at 55 meters 180 feet in the Myra Canyon section of the Kettle Valley Railway.
So we're a little bit past the halfway mark at 6.5 kilometers. And it's just before that bridge that I was oohing and ahhing about. Though that might be tricky to know which, because I think I've done that with all of them. But what I want to show you is back across the canyon, you can kind of see this. So this is at the beginning where I was hitting those bridges in very quick succession. You can kind of, if you look carefully, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sections. So you can kind of see how they are laid out that way. And then here is that huge bridge. Look at the trestles on that thing. I think that's what they're called. Trestles. Stunning. These massive views. Look, even the weather's starting to turn into a win. Blue skies up there. Could be lucky today. So here we're on the second to last bridge. So you got these beautiful cliff faces here. Just stunning colours in the light. And here we are coming up to the final bridge of the canyon. And so that gives you an idea of what it looks like. So I started there at Myra Station, and you can see all the various trestles as we came around. And then where I am right now, and almost at the end point, where we'll turn around and go back. And we're back at the yellow gate where we started. That's the 12k marker. Although as you'll see here, the total return was just over 22 in 2 hours, 23, 24 minutes. Yes, that was a really good sort of jog run there. Obviously doing a bit of filming. It was a leisurely 2.5 hours as you saw. And I bet you could easily do that in an hour and a half on a bike if you like. And if you're really gutting it as a run, I bet some of the super athletes out there could do that in an hour to an hour and a half without too much trouble. Hope you're having a great day. Enjoy. We'll see you next time, wherever we may go. Bye.